The year 1991 marked a pivotal moment in history as the Soviet Union crumbled into separate nations. Among them was Ukraine, a country with a rich cultural heritage and a long-standing desire for self-determination. On August 24, 1991, Ukraine declared its independence, ushering in a new era for the newly independent nation. The United States, a staunch advocate for democracy, was among the first nations to recognize Ukraine's independence. This recognition, formalized on December 25, 1991, laid the foundation for a bilateral relationship that would evolve over the ensuing decades. From the outset, the U.S. expressed its commitment to supporting Ukraine's sovereignty and democratic aspirations. The collapse of the Soviet Union left Ukraine with a complex legacy, including a substantial nuclear arsenal. Recognizing the potential dangers posed by these weapons, Ukraine engaged in negotiations with the international community. These negotiations led to the signing of the Budapest Memorandum in 1994, where Ukraine relinquished its nuclear weapons in exchange for security assurances from the US, the United Kingdom, and Russia. The Budapest Memorandum, signed in 1994, marked a significant step in US-Ukraine relations. This agreement, which saw Ukraine give up its nuclear arsenal in exchange for security assurances, underscored the US commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty.
The early years of US-Ukraine relations focused on fostering democracy and economic development in Ukraine. The US provided assistance programs aimed at strengthening democratic institutions and supporting economic reforms.
Collaboration extended to the political sphere as well. The US and Ukraine engaged in regular diplomatic dialogues, exchanging views on regional and global issues. The US also encouraged Ukraine's integration into Euro-Atlantic institutions, viewing this as crucial for Ukraine's long-term security.
Ukraine joined the North Atlantic Cooperation Council in 1991 and the Partnership for Peace program in 1994, signaling its desire for closer ties with NATO.
In 2004, Ukraine became the epicenter of a peaceful pro-democracy uprising known as the Orange Revolution. This movement, sparked by a disputed presidential election marred by allegations of widespread fraud, demonstrated the Ukrainian people's commitment to democratic values.
The Orange Revolution saw hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians take to the streets, braving freezing temperatures to demand fair and transparent elections.
The United States expressed its unwavering support for the protesters and their demands. The Orange Revolution ultimately led to a rerun of the presidential election, which was won by the pro-Western candidate Viktor Yushchenko. This victory marked a significant triumph for democracy in Ukraine and sent a powerful message about the power of peaceful protest. As Ukraine took strides in consolidating its democracy, a new threat emerged. In 2014, Russia invaded and illegally annexed the Crimean Peninsula. The annexation of Crimea marked a turning point in the relationship between Ukraine and Russia.
It shattered the illusion of peaceful coexistence and plunged the two countries into a state of conflict. Russia's actions were met with widespread international condemnation, but the Kremlin remained undeterred. Russia also instigated and supported a separatist movement in eastern Ukraine, providing military equipment and support to armed groups.
This conflict, which erupted in the Donbas region, further destabilized the country and resulted in a humanitarian crisis. The international community responded to Russia's aggression with a series of sanctions targeting key sectors of the Russian economy. 5. A transatlantic response: US sanctions and military aid to Ukraine.
The United States imposed a series of sanctions targeting key sectors of the Russian economy, including finance, energy, and defense.
The US also provided Ukraine with economic assistance to help mitigate the impact of the conflict. In addition to economic measures, the US provided Ukraine with military aid to bolster its defense capabilities. This assistance included non-lethal military equipment, such as radar systems and secure communications equipment.
The U.S. also provided training to Ukrainian military personnel to enhance their ability to defend their country.
The US increased its military presence in Eastern Europe, deploying troops and equipment to NATO member states bordering Russia. This deployment was intended to reassure allies of the US commitment to their security and deter Russia from any potential aggression against NATO members. Section 6. Bolstering Ukraine's defenses, joint exercises, and strategic partnerships. Beyond direct military aid, the United States embarked on a multifaceted approach to bolstering Ukraine's defense capabilities.
These exercises provided valuable opportunities for Ukrainian troops to train alongside their American counterparts, enhancing their tactical proficiency.
By engaging in these joint operations, Ukrainian forces gained experience in working within a NATO operational framework. In addition to joint exercises, the US and Ukraine deepened their strategic partnership through increased intelligence sharing and defense industry cooperation.
The U.S. provided Ukraine with access to advanced intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities. Furthermore, the U.S. supported the modernization of Ukraine's defense industry, facilitating partnerships between American and Ukrainian defense companies.
This cooperation focused on providing Ukraine with access to advanced technologies and equipment, reducing its reliance on outdated Soviet-era weaponry. Section 7. The 2022 invasion, a turning point in US-Ukraine relations. The year 2022 marked a watershed moment in the history of US-Ukraine relations. In February of that year, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, shattering the fragile peace that had held since 2014.
The U.S. response to the invasion was swift and resolute. The Biden administration, in coordination with its allies, imposed a series of unprecedented sanctions on Russia, targeting its financial system, energy sector, and key industries.
Beyond sanctions, the U.S. galvanized international support for Ukraine, providing billions of dollars in military, humanitarian, and financial assistance. The U.S. supplied Ukraine with advanced weaponry, including Javelin anti-tank missiles and Stinger anti-aircraft systems.
In a powerful symbol of solidarity, President Joe Biden made an unannounced visit to Kyiv in February 2023, underscoring the unwavering commitment of the U.S. to supporting Ukraine. Section 8. Navigating the path ahead, diplomatic efforts and future prospects. As the war in Ukraine enters its third year, the U.S. faces the complex challenge of navigating a path that supports Ukraine while managing the risk of escalation with Russia.
The US has been actively involved in diplomatic efforts to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. However, negotiations between Russia and Ukraine have stalled, with both sides blaming the other for the lack of progress.
The war in Ukraine has had a profound impact on the international order. It has tested the resolve of the transatlantic alliance and raised questions about the future of global security.
The future of US-Ukraine relations remains uncertain. However, one thing is clear. The US has a vested interest in a free, independent, and democratic Ukraine. Section 9. Ukraine's resilience, a testament to the power of freedom. Throughout its history, Ukraine has faced numerous challenges and hardships, from the horrors of the Holodomor to the Chernobyl disaster. Yet time and again, the Ukrainian people have demonstrated remarkable resilience and determination.
In the face of Russian aggression, Ukrainians from all walks of life have come together to defend their country. Ordinary citizens have taken up arms, volunteers have provided humanitarian aid, and journalists have risked their lives to report the truth.
The war in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the importance of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. The US, as a beacon of freedom and a defender of democracy, has a moral obligation to stand with Ukraine in its hour of need.
The outcome of the war in Ukraine will have profound implications for the future of Europe and the world. A Ukrainian victory would be a victory for democracy, freedom, and the rules-based international order.
If you found this valuable, hit the like button and subscribe for more real-life power strategies. Let's keep learning. Let's keep growing.